The legalization of marijuana worldwide. Marijuana and hemp are thought to be some of the oldest cultivated crops dating back to 1200 BC, according to Greyhouse Publishing. One should choose to educate themselves on the medical properties of marijuana because it can help you and maybe help others who are very sickly. I believe that marijuana could be the so-called cure-all drug we have been searching for. And I'm going to discuss some of the amazing capabilities of this drug, such as its history, medicinal purposes, and the steps that we are taking to make this drug legal everywhere. Marijuana and hemp should still be legal everywhere because it has been around for a substantial amount of time, and it has been utilized around the world for many different reasons. In the 1970s, the government declared marijuana a Scheduled I drug, meaning that there are no proven good uses for it. Marijuana evolved in Mongolia in southern Serbia in 1200 BCE. Marijuana arrived in South America in the 16th century when slaves and sailors brought it over from Africa. Marijuana was cultivated for its psychoactive properties, medicinal purposes, and for everyday products. I got this information from Principles of Pharmacology by Salem Press. There are 4 known species of cannabis. There is sativa, sativa L, which is a subspecies of the sativa, indica, and ruderalis. Sativa is the species commonly known as marijuana due to the amount of THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, it contains. Sativa L is commonly known as hemp. It is used to make clothes, oils, ropes, and some food products such as hemp milk. Indica has some of the psychoactive properties of its cousin sativa, but has more CBD, or cannabinoids, than sativa. This species of marijuana is now being used for pain and ADHD, but it does not give you the euphoric feeling of being high. Ruderalis is commonly known as hops and is used in the making of beer. The feeling of being drunk is contributed to the ruderalis in the beer, and it's somehow legal to use this species of marijuana, but not the others. I got this information from Greyhouse Publishing. Since marijuana has been around so long, many different cultures from around the world have already found many medicinal uses for this plant. Marijuana can be used alone or in conjunction with prescription medications, or it can be used to counteract some adverse side effects from the prescription medications. Because of this research, marijuana should be legal to utilize worldwide. Currently, marijuana is used to treat pain, seizures, muscle spasms, poor appetite, nausea, insomnia, depression, menstrual cramps, adrenal and airway diseases, anxiety, anorexia, diabetes, ADHD, and much more. Chemotherapy patients utilize marijuana for nausea to increase their appetite. When a person is receiving chemotherapy, it often disrupts their appetite, and they have a hard time keeping the food down. Marijuana can counteract some of these adverse reactions to the chemotherapy. Epileptic patients use marijuana to decrease seizure activity. In some studies with epileptic patients, marijuana has stopped seizures altogether or has significantly reduced seizures per day. Anorexic and bulimic patients use marijuana to make them hungry, and the psychoactive properties help to counteract the guilt of eating. Often, someone who has an eating disorder feels very self-conscious about the way that they look, and the marijuana creates a euphoric feeling of calmness and security for these patients. Fibromyalgia patients use marijuana to help dull their sensitivity to pain, so they can better deal with the chronic pain that comes with this disease. Sometimes the pain that they feel can come from someone who just simply touches their hand. This simple gesture can cause severe and erratic pain that can last a really long time. Even the feeling of clothes brushing against their skin can cause excruciating pain. Marijuana in turn dulls the pain receptors and makes every day a little more bearable for these patients. I got this information from Encyclopedia Britannica and Go Encyclopedia Nursing and Allied Health. Some other cultures throughout history have found medicinal purposes long before we have started doing evasive research on marijuana. Egyptians used marijuana to treat sore eyes in 2000 BCE. Greek doctor Galen prescribed marijuana for flatulence. The Chinese used marijuana as an anesthetic in 200 CE. Africa used marijuana to treat snake bites, anthrax, and malaria in the 12th century. In India, marijuana was used to treat congestion, and they used the juice from the seeds to treat earaches in the 15th century. I got this information from Principles of Pharmacology by Salem Press. It is obvious that marijuana has medicinal properties. So let's take a look at some of the steps that we are taking so we can utilize the benefits of this drug worldwide. Currently, there are many steps in the process in making this miracle drug legal worldwide. Tremendous amounts of money are going towards the research of this drug. Many trials are being performed on many different diseases and disorders. To get the confirmed evidence of marijuana's benefits, time is a big factor in these trials. One must also go through a licensed physician to obtain a license to legally consume, grow, or smoke marijuana for personal use. I got this information from Salem Press. In the states that have already made marijuana legal, there has been a humongous tax revenue that is put towards our children's education. And some of those taxes have also been used to better the state. I got this from CQ Press. In mid-2018, the FDA approved a medical form of cannabis called Epidiolex. This is a purified CBD syrup, and it treats Dravet syndrome and Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. These are severe and rare types of epilepsy that usually manifest in childhood. This was also the first FDA-approved cannabis medication. I got that from the Salem Press. While some states have made marijuana legal recreationally, federally, marijuana is still illegal worldwide. At any time, a federal agent can completely destroy a government legal dispensary and confiscate all paraphernalia because it is still federally illegal. The federal government still classifies marijuana as a Schedule I drug, like heroin. The federal government does not see the benefits or medical values because of the lack of medical evidence through documentation, research, and trials. The federal government still believes that marijuana has a high potential for abuse and addiction. They believe this is a gateway drug for harder drugs such as crack, heroin, coke, etc. The federal government sees marijuana as a competitive threat for the pharmacy world as well as the crop industries. I got that information from CQ Press. Now that you have some knowledge about marijuana, do you know anybody that would benefit from its uses? In conclusion, marijuana could very well be the cure-all drug that we are so desperately seeking to alleviate or cure some very terrible conditions or diseases. Marijuana and all of its strains have been existent for a really long time and has helped many people who suffer with extreme diseases and disorders. Because of the medical properties that marijuana possesses, great steps and strides are being made to utilize and benefit from this plant. Marijuana should be legal worldwide if it can help us in so many aspects of our lives. In closing, this material could be very helpful in easing one's mind about the so-called reefer madness. This drug has already made great strides in our time medically, and hopefully with more research and time, marijuana will get the recognition that it deserves. Hopefully one day it will become fully legal around the world to anyone who needs it. Done.